automatically picks a different microphone that never works. So I have to go in and manually pick a different one. So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, at least I know it works now. So.
Yeah, so that was the cause of the initial when we first did this. How you were all
That was the problem. It just there were two options for the microphone, and for some reason I had to pick the other one. So.
All right. Well, that might actually be what's happening with Wayne also, because we're getting feedback when Wayne comes on, and it might just be that it's pulling from some strange audio source on his computer that he's not even aware of.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's the technology for you.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 2:00, and we've got. We'll just go ahead and get started. I don't really have any housekeeping stuff other than to let you, as just like last week, Dick is here with us this week. Keith, you weren't here last week, so you didn't meet. This is Dick Chilton up here in my top left. I don't know where he is on your screen.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dick goes way back with me and with Camelia and also with Aaron. He was a key player in NPE when I owned NPE. And
right.
The creator of Duplicator and Auto Closer. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the old NPE stuff, but those were the.
I'm not that familiar with it. But.
Okay, well, those were the sales systems and the management system that we sold to fitness professionals back during NPE. So Dick created those things. So, and he's got a long history in sales and management himself. Fortune 500 level. I mean, big time stuff. Yeah. Multi-million dollars. Just an incredible resource. So if you've got Keith or Val, if you guys have any management, sales-related issues, I mean, Dick's good on anything business-related, but specifically if you've got sales or management issues to discuss, we can absolutely dig deep into that and just talk about anything.
Yeah, I listened to the video from last week. And I wish I'd been able to make that call because there was some good conversations, but I definitely brought some questions today. So
awesome.
Along those lines.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And okay, good. Hey, Wayne, I wanted to mention you. Good to see you, brother. Keith was just talking about how his computer, when he puts on Zoom, when he initiates Zoom, it pulls from a different audio or something. Keith, can you just explain what you told us?
Yeah, so like when you go down on the screen, there's down at the bottom the mute button. There's a little arrow there. When you click on it, for me, it gives me two different microphone options, and the one it automatically picks doesn't work. I have to go in and pick the other microphone option. I don't know why, but
yeah. I'm wondering, Wayne, if that has something to do with the feedback that we get. Because, like, when you switched computers the other day, it seemed to kill that feedback, but I hear it again today.
Well, I just switched the microphone, and I just switched the speakers. If that doesn't work, I've got the other computer right beside me ready to fire up.
No, I think that worked.
Okay, yeah, I switched it to same as system for the microphone and the speakers.
Yeah.
That might have worked. We'll see, but I don't know. I might be getting hard to say. We'll not worry about it for right now.
Sorry about that.
No. Hey, Val, good to see you, brother. Can you? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? You can hear me. All right. You're not muted though, but I can't hear you. Oh, you are muted. Now you're not. I don't know. You might have a microphone issue because I can't hear you, Val. But as long as you can hear us. Okay. All right. And Val, if you can't get that figured out, if you do want to say something, you can type it in the chat. If you click on the chat feature down at the bottom of the screen, it'll open up and you can type something in there. All right, good. Okay, I'm not sure, Wayne. I'm not sure whether I'm getting feedback or not.
I'll mute it for now until the other computer gets fired up.
All right, thanks, brother. All right, so Keith, let's just go ahead and get started. If you mentioned you had a couple questions, so go ahead and shoot. What do you got?
Well, just quick background. I think we've discussed some of this, but I've had my gym now for 10 years. And we started out actually, you guys talked about this last week, started out the independent contractor model. I was basically just renting space to other trainers. It only took having a couple of bad trainers to realize that model didn't work for me. So, and I have some amazing stories I can tell you. I should write a book sometime. Hey, anyway, so about 4 years ago, we switched over to the employee model, and it's great in terms of having more control over the systems, more control over what, quality control. But as you guys, I'm sure know, payroll is by far my biggest monthly expense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, and because we're not near at the level I'd like to be, in terms of gross revenue, my trainers make about $18 an hour, which is kind of low. Looking at other models and so forth, at the Iron Tribe model, I mean, I think they're usually more like $20, $25 an hour, sometimes 30, I think, in some markets. Because of that, all my trainers work other jobs. They can't work here full time because they don't really make it. Asheville's a pretty expensive place to live. So I guess what I'm running into, and this is kind of where I just wanted some feedback on, is, obviously scaling up is going to be a thing I need to do. And I know systems are a big part of that. That's been a big focus of mine this past year, is trying to, honestly, I didn't really even have systems the first 9 years. So it's really been this last year. And now it's like, okay, we got to have systems in place to make this work. But in terms of, if a coach needs to take time off, the other coaches can't help fill in because they work other jobs, and wanting to get to that point of being able to pay them a good salary so that they could maybe work here full time, if that's what they wanted to do. Not that I require that, but, even like today, I was trying to have a trainers meeting, I don't even shoot for once a week. I just try to get us together once a month if I can. And half of them couldn't make it because they have other commitments, and so it's just, there's a struggle there in terms of just trying to, one, I want to build loyalty into it, and I know not everybody's driven by money necessarily, but obviously it helps if they can pay their bills by working here, So I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of curious about if you guys have any feedback around that. To start paying them $25 an hour, I'd be, out of business in a month, because they would just wreck me right now. But I don't know.
Sure. No, I think we'll definitely have some feedback for you. Dick, you want to take that first? And I'd like to get Camelia to chime in too.
Yeah, Camelia can probably answer that better than me, but I would, my first question would be, is how do you load your trainers up? Do you have a number one trainer, a number two, a number three, and load them accordingly? In other words, you must have, or you probably have someone that has been there longest and does the best work. Does he get the most clients? And, if I think it's a sequential thing. You start loading them from your top guy down. I think that's what I would do. Camelia may have, a better solution, but you still have to load these guys up so that maybe they do want to work full time. Mm-hmm. Your lead trainer, he's your full time, go-to guy, but he has to have, a solid workload so that he gets a full time paycheck. And then as it goes on down, your second, if you can load him up, your third, and I think you'll get to a point to where you'll be loading some people on a part-time basis, and sure. That's okay, because then they go out and get, another job, and you may not be the priority there. The other job may be, but at least you know that. So I would think along those lines. I don't know much of another solution. In keeping your prices competitive, high as possible, and then offering, a good service for the money. But load your good guys up.
Right.
Yeah, great.
How do you load you guys up right now?
So actually one of the main reasons we switched to the employee model was because I started doing things on shifts. And of course, by law, if you're making them work certain hours, they're supposed to be employees. So that was the first reason for that. But so it really is, we have, and then it's my job to fill up those hours, whether we're doing a small group session, a one-on-one session, a team or a group fitness session, it's all built in that we have a schedule and the trainers work certain schedules, and obviously whatever hours they're available, I'm happy to give them those hours. But then it's up to me to fill up those time slots with people. So.
Do you know what your payroll percent of revenue is?
What was that question? I'm sorry.
Do you know what your payroll percent of revenue is? So if you're making $10,000 a month, do you know how much of that is? We're pushing right around 40%. Okay, so you're at the higher end.
Yeah.
And in terms of your model, are your prices high enough to support your payroll? Are you charging enough?
I mean, I guess that's the question. I feel like, we're competitive in our market in terms of what other people are charging, and probably a little bit on I wouldn't say the high end, but we're probably on the average end. So, it could certainly be an opportunity to go up a little bit, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a consideration. And you're doing a semi-private or a small group model?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And how many folks on average are in those groups?
You talking about in terms of like our overall membership, what percentage do small group or?
No,
or just,
for each small group, how many are in the group on average?
I would say, we allow up to 6. I would say most small groups are usually 3 or 4. Sometimes they max out at 6, but.
Okay. So if you're doing, if you're doing small group up to 6, you should have a pretty high margin on that small group if you're getting up to 6. So the other thing you might want to consider is taking a look at your schedule and making sure that you don't have a lot of small groups operating where there's only 3 people in it.
Right.
And start to consolidate those groups so that you can get the numbers up higher. As those numbers are higher and the margins are better, then start adding the new group. So it's kind of in conjunction with what Dick said, fill your, bring on a full-time person, fill that person up first, but fill them up in a manner that you're filling up specific time slots of that small group before adding new small groups.
Right.
Right. Keep the margins up at 4, 5, and 6 before adding another group.
Right.
I mean, people fall into that trap a lot. They find themselves with all these small groups out there, but all that's showing up is 1 or 2.
Right.
So paying high payroll costs for private training.
Yeah. I guess I kept thinking, you build this schedule out so there's lots of flexibility and you'll just fill it up. But yeah, that's.
And trust me when I tell you, people will conform to what you have available.
Right.
Right. If you tell them, look, I've got a Monday, Wednesday at 9:00 or a Monday or Tuesday, Thursday at 9:00, which would you prefer? They'll pick that instead of saying, well, what would you like? Okay, I have that. Right. So you need to train the client, manage the client, and not let them manage you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a major, major point. You managing the clients rather than them managing you. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is.
I agree.
And Camilla gets lots of practice managing all of us here at home too. She's very good at it. Knows exactly how it works.
She knows that the prisoners don't run the prison.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Keith, I'm curious, how many trainers do you have?
Besides myself, there are 3 others.
3 others. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm very part-time. I'm doing more of the business stuff now, but.
Yeah. And when you said they all have other second jobs, are those second jobs also in the fitness business, or do they do other things?
Only one of the coaches works at another gym. The other 2 do totally different jobs, totally different things.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm just curious about that, but this is one of the most challenging issues in business what you're dealing with right now. I mean, it's tricky, and I think certainly one of the ways out, in addition to what Dick and Camilla just shared with you, is to market aggressively, generate more clients so that you can obviously feed these guys. But that's challenging as well.
Although this, again, I've put on the Facebook page, this 6-week challenge that we just did was highly successful. One of the things I'm looking at with that is possibly, and to go along with what Camilla was saying, was possibly when we're interviewing people for this challenge is saying the only times we have available are these times and trying to push them into those small groups that aren't full right now. And, rather, because the way we approach this time is like, here's the schedule, pick whatever you want. But like she said, maybe it is, hey, for this challenge, you've got Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, which are slower days, and here's the times available on those days,
And I would actually even go back. I've got a couple clients doing this now. Go back and see where your slots are that are not full and shut them down and put those people into another time slot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This goes, and we talk about this in almost every facet of business, but it goes back to what we talked about earlier in terms of referral marketing, where you want to start training and queuing and developing this culture of referrals from the very beginning. It's the same really with this. It's how you manage your clients and your staff and everybody, but you want to manage them based on what you want, not necessarily what they want.
Right.
So, and I think you start that different from the very beginning, and you don't run into problems. They understand, hey, this is how it works at at Keith's facility. So,
not any different from any other business. If you go to a hairstylist, you say, I need an appointment, and they tell you with whom, and okay, well, they have this and this available.
Right.
You work until you find a slot that they have that works for both of you. They're not going to say, oh, you want that? Okay, well, we're just going to he'll come in at 3:00 and take care of you. That doesn't happen that way. In no other business does that happen that way.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't need to happen that way in yours either.
Yeah.
That's a great point. A part of the way the system runs is it's actually not that much different than a salon or a martial arts studio. I mean, it's that same kind of concept. So
the service mentality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. So what about the you mentioned Keith? Well, first of all, anything else you want to follow up with on that topic?
No, that was great.
All right, good. So you said your challenge did go real well. I think you ended up getting 39 or something like that into it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
That's fantastic. And all right, good. Well, then let me check in with Val, because this is Val's first time on the call. Val, I don't know if you can hear me yet, or I mean, you can hear me, but I don't know if I can hear you. So if you've got anything, just let me know. If you've got a question or anything, let me know. You can type it in the chat, or you can talk if you can. Can we hear you? Oh, you're typing, okay. And oh yeah. Oh, you don't. Okay, so yeah. You don't have a mic. Okay, no problem. So you're good just listening then, Val. I don't. All right. If you've got something though, you can type it in the chat. I don't know why I'm raising my voice. Isn't that interesting? It's like when you talk with somebody who you think might be deaf, you tend to raise your voice.
Make sure they hear you.
Yeah. All right. So Wayne, let's jump to you then, brother. Anything you got? Any questions, issues we can help with?
Yeah, I do have some questions, but I don't know if it came up when I was switching computers for I'm sorry, the guy we were just talking to.
Keith?
Yeah, I don't know if it came up, but have you considered having one person that was full-time, and if you let go maybe of one or two of the part-time people, you might have enough to pay one full-time to stay around?
I've considered that. Yeah. I mean, it's the one I have in mind. Again, she works another job, but again, she may be willing to quit the other job if I offer her full-time hours. I don't know,
And I don't know if it's the same everywhere else, but with 1099 with independent contractors, from what I've heard with us is that an independent contractor, you can't give them specific hours
right
to be at a place.
Yep.
And I think that's a tax thing. But I mean, even though we have boot camp sessions and we tell the person, we kind of put it out there for them, when can you work? And then they would tell us when they could work. So I guess we're not telling them when they can be here. We're just telling them when our sessions are.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. There's always little nuances.
I did have some questions though.
Yeah, go ahead.
One is how do you come up with a unique selling proposition? Because there's other boot camps in town and there's other training facilities, and how do you come up with putting your own little spin, your unique selling proposition on what it is that you do?
It's a great question, and it's one that requires roughly 37 weeks to answer. It's as involved a question as there can be. I will give you, and if Aaron is up for it, hopefully he'll chime in as well on this. Aaron's he's under the weather. It's difficult to talk without coughing, but maybe he can get something out. But here, I'll just give you. So, there's a lot of USP stands for unique selling proposition, and according to Dan Kennedy, and I believe this as well, I think most people do, it should answer the question, why should I buy from you versus any and every other option out there, or doing nothing at all. So, why should I buy your fitness services versus all those other places out there, or just sit at home and continue eating Krispy Kremes? That's a big question. And a lot of times the examples that were given for USPs were, and Dan used to do this quite a bit, and he sort of contributed to this misunderstanding about a USP, because he used to define the way he used to he'd give examples like the Domino's USP, like fresh hot pizza in 30 minutes or less guaranteed, or the FedEx guarantee or the USP when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. To me, those are more like slogans, and they're powerful. There's no doubt they're powerful marketing tools, but they're not. I think these days it's too difficult, and it doesn't think in terms of trying to differentiate your business in one sentence. I just think that's too challenging to do. And there's so in terms of your unique selling proposition, what you should be thinking about primarily are the things that you can absolutely leverage to distinguish and differentiate yourself. So I'll give you a perfect example that you should, Wayne, that you should resonate with you. With Fit Body Boot Camp, you guys have, or at least as I've seen it, correct me if I'm wrong, you use an afterburn training system, right? Isn't that the name of the training system, afterburn?
Well, that's just the name that they've given HIIT training, high intensity interval training. They call it afterburn. I mean, they just put a different name to it.
Right. And there you go. Perfect example of differentiation. See, I'm not a fan of Rose, but I will acknowledge that he's a sharp marketer. And that is what he did there is very smart. So because most people are using HIIT in some way or another. A lot of people are. So why not give it your own proprietary name? And that's what he did, Afterburn. And it's a great name because look at the implications of it. Wow, I'm getting extra additional fat burning even after I work out when I'm not even sweating anymore. So that's really very smart. So that is one way, by naming your protocol or your fitness program, by giving it a proprietary name. That is one component of your USP. Others, and it's Aaron's daughter's a nurse. He's getting at-home nursing. That's wonderful. One other important way is your story, and this is something that nobody can compete with. How you convey your story, because that differentiates you in a significant way. So those are two examples. There are many other ways. For instance, some places are open 24 hours. Now, that's not any of you guys, I don't imagine, but this is another way to look at it. What features do you have that are definitely different and distinctive from other places in the market or, in your local market? And then you sort of cobble all this stuff together and you come up with some way to articulate, to express your business's what is unique about your business, but it might take a few paragraphs. And that's why I say it's unfortunate if you shouldn't try and think of fitting everything into one or even two sentences, in my opinion. Aaron, you got anything you want to add to that or go on a tangent of your own?
Yeah, beautifully put. I mean, here's another way to look at it, Wayne. While the USP is the unique selling proposition, right? Think of it as the unique emotional proposition, UEP, okay? And so in my world, everything begins and ends with emotion, right? And because the truth is, until you grab them emotionally, you've got nothing, right? So without the emotional grab, right, your USP or your unique emotional proposition, you've got nothing, right? So my challenge to you and all of us, right, to me and everyone, is what emotionally grabs people. And so begin to think in terms of that. And I won't belabor it beyond that because Eric covered it so well, but just think in terms of emotionally what draws the moth to the flame, right? And try to form a message around it.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good exercise. It's a great question that you asked. It's good to always be thinking in these terms and to always be trying to craft and refine some form of USP, unique selling proposition. But I will tell you that what Aaron just said, the most important thing you can do is develop a relationship with people, because that is the USP is compelling for attracting people, and that's what you're looking at is the attraction. But once you want to be able to explain why you're different and better, right? And then you attract to some degree, get them to opt in some way so that you can begin communicating with them. And then what's really going to distinguish you and what's really going to set you apart and what's really going to make you unique ultimately and help you sell a lot more is your ability to relate, your relatability, and the comfort, how they feel about you in terms of knowing, liking, trusting. So that, you want to think in terms of attraction to get that opt-in, but then it's really about how well you build the relationship, not so much how well you express what's different and better about your business, because the relationship in and of itself is what's different and better. And that's the most important, different and better, because they don't get that anywhere else. I hope that makes sense. And ask me if it doesn't, if you've got a follow-up or anything else you need additional clarity on.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks.
All right. Anything else?
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked a whole lot about the personal touch, building that relationship with people, and we're big on that. We've been big on that, and we've been bigger on that since working with you guys. I try to call and text, email people at least once a week, but it's up to like 150 people, and that's a lot of texting and emailing and stuff during the day. I'm thinking about some type of customer service person who can reach out and stuff like that for people, rather than the owner getting tied down with that. I mean, do you still lose that? Some way for them to have a personal touch with someone from your facility without tying down the owner, going back and forth, answering questions, or just saying, hey, checking in on you, how you doing? How's your progress coming?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And so that you kind of got to feel your way. And if that's what's happening when you're reaching out to folks, if you're getting a lot of interaction, which is a good thing, but if it becomes too time consuming, then yeah, maybe you do need to look at how you can hand that off. Ideally, I'll tell you, my philosophy is this on when it comes to business, and this might not help you. I don't know. This is how I feel about it, is that business owners' number one job, your number one job, my number one job, is to be the rainmaker, is to be the person who generates business, generates sales for the business. Because without that, you got nothing else. You're out of business. So that is job number one as I see it. And what supports job number one, in my opinion, it's relationship building. It's how well you communicate in a sincere and authentic way that helps your people and also sells to your people. So with that being said, my argument is that you should be, if you can be talking to clients and prospects all day long and selling to them, because that's part of it, and that's what you should be doing. That's my belief. But you have other obligations, and I understand. So that might not be realistic. Dick, did you want to jump in and say something?
Yeah, I do. This is, and I got an example I want to use too. But your best go-to feel-good people are the ones with that are doing the training. That's the relationship that counts. Is the trainer and the client. You're, as the business owner, have very little real basic input into it. You can schmooze them all day, but if that trainer isn't helping them get the results they want and isn't opening good communication with them, and if it's not a feel-good thing, if it's not one of those like and trust things, then no matter what you do, you lose. And I want to give you an example. This just happened, when was it? Last Thursday. Went to the Wells Fargo Bank. I walk in, there's a guy standing there. Hey, how you doing? Welcome into Wells Fargo. I go about another 10 feet, and a gal walks over. Hi, I'm one of the managers, and I just wanted to welcome you to Wells Fargo. And I said, thank you. And I got in line and stood there for 10 damn minutes waiting to deposit a check. 10 minutes I had to wait. And then when I got there, the guy says, hi, how you doing today? Well, really, I'm not doing very good. So it's the basic stuff that counts. Really, the ones that are interfacing with the customer, those are the ones that really and truly make or break your business as far as a relationship standpoint. You can do a lot of things as a manager, but really and truly, people in the trenches, they're doing the heavy lifting. They're the ones that keep your clients or make them want to, respond with a, with a referral or something. So it's, I think it's the people in the trenches that do the work.
Yeah, no, whoever's interfacing with that client, whoever's communicating with them, and in larger business, it's the people in the trenches, and even in your businesses, a lot of times it's your trainers, it's whoever's interfacing with the client. That could also and should also be you, as far as I'm concerned. It's like we used to teach this. Remember, Dick, how we would teach the principle of chef time, and how you should go out and communicate with your people, particularly for larger fitness businesses. If you're not, if you don't have the opportunity to, if you're not training or you're not interacting with clients at all, then you need to set up a special time where you actually go out on the floor and
that's right,
and interact with these folks
and show yourself.
Yeah. Now, in your case, Wayne, that's probably not. I mean, you're interacting quite a bit out there with most of your clients, aren't you? And are you actually training sometimes too?
I'm doing just about all the training now because
I
let go of the trainer that I had last year. I only have a couple of part-time people, but I'm at every single session. I'm doing all the training now.
Good. So you're interacting quite a bit then. So give me an example. When you do your personal touch stuff, when you're reaching out, what types of things are happening? Are they asking you like customer service related questions in response, or what?
A lot of it has to do with maybe their diet, or I'll look at their MyFitnessPal to see how they're doing on eating. A lot of times I'll take pictures or videos during the workout. Like if they happen to be, doing a dead hang from the pull-up bar, I send it to them during the day and say, great job. And, they like sharing stuff like that with their family, look at me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's smart. And so you've got really a high touch business. You're really taking this to another level. I mean, it seems to me with all the information that you're sharing with these folks, I think that's great. So yeah, if you need help doing that, then is there somebody on your team that can help you with that?
Who is on your team, Wayne? Is it just you?
my wife does the admin stuff, so I don't have to deal with the paperwork side of things. I have another personal trainer who's also a teacher, so she's not here very much, maybe 3 times a week that she's actually assisting teaching a class. She really wants to be here more, but she can't because she's a teacher. And then another member that came through the ranks, lost a bunch of weight, and she wanted to also become a trainer. So those are the only 2 part-time people that we have.
So you're wearing all the hats, except for some admin.
Right.
Right. So that's why you're feeling the pain of so much touching, because you're doing the owner touching, you're doing the trainer touching, and you're doing some customer service touching. So if you can gradually take off some of the other hats and allow yourself to just be the owner, you won't feel so much anxiety about so much touching happening by you.
Right. Well, I'm not exactly overwhelmed now, because it's only about 150 people, and I don't do everybody every single day. But I was thinking of growing. Like if this location got to between 200 or 300 people, and then you want to open a second or third location, you can't keep doing that I couldn't keep up that same thing. So I'm trying to get something duplicatable, and that's why I was hoping the books that Eric recommended last week about putting systems in place and things like that will help.
You need systems, you need job descriptions, and you need good staff management tools in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a good employee to do that. But that's the secret is, I mean, you're right. You get, if you start, as you start to grow, as you continue to grow, you're going to need that leverage. You're going to need that employee. You're going to need that system, because what you just described to me really sounds beautiful from a marketing perspective, that how you're interacting with these people and the high level of customer service you're providing to them. Talk about a USP and this is now an internal USP, because there's external, how do you attract, and then there's internal, how do you retain? And this is a great way to retain. And again, it sort of comes back to the relationship thing. But that high level of customer service is the strongest bond you can have with a customer, because you're giving them such tremendous value. So I think you're on to something. I would encourage you to continue doing it. And I think you're smart to be thinking in terms of how you can leverage it, how you can systemize it, and therefore continue to leverage it even more as you move forward. But you're going to need a good person for sure, and then a good process.
There's still one thing to keep in mind. All the flaws in your system, once you put in a plan to grow, are going to be magnified. So you need to resolve all your issues right now and get a plan and get some support, maybe an administrative assistant or somebody to get you going where you can put a plan together and actually work it, rather than, it working you. Because, once you start this path down towards growth, all your sins come to bear.
Yeah. Yeah, little bumps become big bumps.
They do.
I was considering this, see if this makes sense. I was considering getting a phone that, instead of everything being on my phone, like all the contacts of texting or emailing or sending pictures to members, if there was one phone that all that was done on, and once I had another trainer that came in and was doing more training, instead of me having it all the time, I could pass it off to them. So that way they could always be using that same number to be texting and sending pictures to the members, looking at their MyFitnessPal, kind of like you're taking shifts on the phone of the touching back and forth. Does that make sense?
What percentage of your phone right now is used for business versus personal?
98%, I guess.
So you get a new phone. Get a new personal phone,
mm-hmm.
and keep the phone you have right now as your business phone. But you get a new phone, and don't give anybody that's a client or related to your business that number.
Right.
All right. I understand. There you go. Thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah, see you guys.
Yeah, see you. You see what Camellia just did there, Wayne? And she does that to me all the time. This is what Dick does too. All good salespeople do this. You say something, and they answer with a question. So I take control.
Good point.
Yeah, yeah. So what is that possible? What she just suggested with getting your own new phone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it would just be a way of going through, and the few people that use it for personal, give them the new number. But mostly, I mean, there's probably 200 people on there that's contact wise that's business, clients.
Yeah.
People trying us out, things like that.
You're not alone in that way. Lots of people have one phone that they commingle business and personal with, and 2 weeks of just transitioning to their own phone, keeping the phone they've had as a business, and their life has completely changed.
Yeah, but especially if I had someone to trade it off with.
Yeah,
because
that would be the next step.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Great, that's great advice. Thanks.
Yeah, well, those are all really good questions. That's great. All right. Well, and Val, are you sure? And nothing we can do for you? No questions. Wayne, anything else while Val's typing?
Well, I had a bunch of questions to make up for last week for not having any questions. I do have one more.
Yeah, brother. Here, the sky's the limit. You can ask.
We talked a lot about last week about employees and contractors. I have a couple of people that I trade stuff with, like maybe photography, or we do things in trade. We give them either a discount and then barter. Is that an okay business practice, or is there some problem that may arise down the road that I don't know about yet?
From my perspective, it's totally okay, and I think it's very wise, because you can just save a tremendous amount of money by doing something like that. As long as you're not locking yourself into as long as you're properly valuing your time in terms of how much, if something you're promising to them in exchange for something they're giving to you, as long as you're properly valuing your time, so you're not giving them too much of you, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then I think it's a great way. Do you find that it's been working well for you, or have you run into issues?
No, it's been working great. We trade for graphics and like the posters, like the Chilton posters that we had made. We trade a lady for that. Photography. I trade a girl for constantly putting the updates and Facebook posts on the business page, so I don't have to do that all the time. And I just did another one where a girl is doing a food blog. So all the recipes and stuff that get on our Facebook page, instead of getting lost down in the news feed, I wanted her to take those recipes and the pictures and put them on one blog that we could send our members to, and everything would be right there. Yeah. And she put it up this week, and I think it's going to be a great resource. And I don't have to do that. She can do that, and she's happy because she's going to be working out for free. So it seems to be working okay.
I think it's beautiful. Let me ask you this. How are you actually putting it out to your clients and saying, hey, I need this such and such done. If you'd like to do it, I'll be happy to give you services for free? Or how are you getting these people?
Well, because you get to know them and find out what they do. Like the one girl, she has a passion for food. On her own, she was already putting her recipes that she cooks at home. She's always putting them on Facebook, and she just loves cooking, and everybody loves her food. So her passion is food, so I figured she could funnel it, and it would help us. The other girl is a photographer by trade, so she's done some stuff for us in here. And
yeah, okay, so it's just naturally occurring. The evolution of the relationship as you learn more, then you proposition them. That's fantastic. Dick, do you see any issues with barter?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. How much does it cost you in fulfillment time to do this bartering? Have you costed it out?
Not exactly. I mean, since we have group training, it's not as impactful as if I just did personal training. So, but to me, it seems to be worth, the $147 a month, maybe, that that I'm not charging them for them to be doing the service that they're doing, I feel like I'm coming out on the winning end of it.
Yeah, you probably are, being a small business owner with only yourself and a couple employees. But if you sit down and do a business plan and look to some growth in the future, would you have this bartering in there as part of your business plan? That would be my question. Because as you grow, right now you're the most flexible you'll ever be. And as you grow, you lose flexibility to be able to go out and barter for these things when you're trying to run a business based on a plan. So I think there's maybe it's just a matter of transitioning from where you are now into a bigger business. But in the future, you're going to have more restraints put on you as to the flexibility and being able to barter. When I guarantee you, some of the bigger facilities, Iron Tribe, for example, and theirs, I doubt if they barter, down at those levels, being a franchisee. But right now, it works. You've made it work only because you're small and very, very flexible. But it's something to think about when you put your plan together. Think about, am I going to continue doing what I'm doing now? And if I'm not, how do I, where do I go? How do that'd just be it's kind of a caution when you start growing.
Great, thanks.
I'll pipe into that real quick, Wayne. Having done some of that bartering early on ourselves, I'll say this, that if you're going to barter, you need to have, you need to have paperwork. You need to know, exactly what the trade-off is. You need to have detailed expectations from both sides so that there doesn't seem to be an imbalance of the scales on one side or the other, and just eliminate the confusion on all sides.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think anytime you're dealing with, when you're going beyond the normal parameters of a customer business relationship, well, I don't know. I think you just need to have it clearly documented. That's right. Misunderstandings and misinterpretation, misperception, whatever it is, can lead to problems. And the last thing you want to do is have somebody doing some bartering, you're bartering with, say, well, geez, Wayne, I think I should get, 3 months free for this X amount of work. And, or I thought that's what you said you were going to give. And then you just have to deal with you've got a problem on your hands, and then maybe that becomes a cancer within the business. So I agree, document the stuff. And then as Dick said, as you continue, because your plan is growth, which is smart. That's what should be every business's plan. You want to be thinking in terms of, this barter probably can't last. You make the most of it now, but as you grow and become, especially you've got more to lose and there's more legal ramifications and things like that, a lot of stuff to consider. But I think for now, make hay while the sun shines.
I think, Wayne, one of the things you should probably consider is that as I listen to you, and I don't know much about your business, but what I'm gathering over the course of this conversation is that you've put a lot of Band-Aids in place, right? You have a need, you find a way to support that need, and you haven't looked at the overall picture of how to support your organization in the best and smartest way. So there's a lot of pieces here and there. They're being supported by many different people doing many different things in many different scenarios. And again, if you want to grow, like everyone has said here, you need to consider what is the best way to support growth. So whenever we talk to people about what they want to do, the question to ask yourself is, how is what I'm going to do right now going to support my future growth? And if it's working right now for 100 people, will it work for 300 people? And 9 times out of 10, it probably won't. So you have to make sure that what you're doing isn't a Band-Aid, but supports your overall vision and the growth of your business.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's just good, tough love. Hey, Joe, I see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Is there anything we can do for you? Any specific questions or anything you've got, Joe?
Well, the only question I had was I'm looking to set up something where I kind of want to freshen up the idea of how I maybe pay and incentivize trainers. You know, I know some people have bonuses, some people have different things they do for them if they hit targets or goals, and so I'm just kind of looking to freshen it up. Right now, it's very vanilla. What I do, I just pay them a flat rate fee per session that they complete. But I'd like to put some other things in place. So I'm open to whatever thoughts you might have on that.
Yeah, I wanted to definitely get Camille's input on this, but Camille, are you still there? If you are, maybe she's dealing with one of the kids, but she'll come back. And I want to hear Dick's thoughts on this too. But first of all, did you get it? Did you hear back from Randy or Fred?
Yeah, they each replied and said they would, try and get back to me. So
excellent. Two good guys to talk to, because I think we can certainly give you good advice from from our perspective, but I think what's best is to hear what actually people are doing right now and how that's working for them. And I know Randy and Fred have good plans in place, and Camelia gets all this from all her clients. So that's why I want to hear what she has to say about that. But Dick and Aaron too, certainly, because he's got a lot of experience. Any thoughts on that? Paying, incentivizing trainers, Dick? I mean, any broad principles or anything that you can think of?
Yeah, I've been out of touch a long time with, interfacing with trainers and such in those facilities. But what I would say is, if you were a trainer, what kind of an incentive would you like? Going down on the floor yourself, doing the training, and you bust your fanny for 5, 6, 7 hours. How would you like to be paid for that? What would help you be recognized as really doing your job well? So that's if it's good for you, it'd be good for them. So
yeah, no doubt. Aaron, you want to chime in or anything on that?
Well, listen, I mean, having gone through the whole gamut of the Fitness Together model, much like your own, that you pay a trainer by the session, right? And, if you guarantee them 3 sessions in a row, right? If they only have 2, you still pay them for 3. And it's hard to keep trainers motivated this way, right? And so the day Iron Drive opened its doors, every trainer was salaried, just like that, right? And it was never different. Now, if you have a part-time trainer, well, then they're going to work on an hourly basis, right? And but if you have a full-time trainer, then they're salaried and they're like a real employee at another job. If you have the ability to do that, to Dick's point, I think that's your best case scenario.
Okay.
Camelia, I'd love to get you to chime in on this too. Did you hear Joe's question?
I missed the end of it. I'm sorry. I had to grab the phone real quick.
Joe, could you just repeat the question?
Oh, sure. Right now, I have some trainers that work for me. And what I was interested in is kind of freshening up what I do. Right now, I pay them a flat rate for sessions that they complete when they train clients for me. And I was wondering what your thoughts would be on maybe incentivizing them or bonuses or just any other ideas or thoughts you may have that helps not only with, I don't think there's a lack of motivation, but I still would like to just always looking to make things better and see if there's another better or greater way to do it.
Yeah, so there's no right or wrong answer to that. It really goes based upon how you want to support your staff. So tell me, what kinds of things do you do for them other than pay right now? Anything?
Right now, it would just be pay driven. The only other thing I do is I always encourage continuing education. And if they do that, I'm always willing to put 50% to it.
Okay. Do you do any outings, any meals, any staff meetings?
Yeah, we do. And what I do is I try and take each one out to lunch, one-on-one and talk and get a feel for how they're feeling, ask them, if there's anything we can do better, if they have any ideas, anything they want to contribute. So I try and really make sure that I enhance and maintain the relationship.
And how long have they all been with you on average?
Let's I have one that's been with me for 4 years, another one for 8, and another one that just started. It's been with me for a year.
Okay, so they stick with you. So clearly you're already doing something right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not really a question of incentivizing and getting them to stay and pay more, because you clearly pay them well because they're sticking around. They're there for 40. You give them time and effort, so that's great. There's a book you might want to consider. It's called The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. And the Dream Manager takes leadership to a whole new level specifically for each of your own specific employees. So it's based upon understanding the goals and dreams of your employees and working to help them achieve what it is that they want. Buy a house, pay off debts, own their own business. Everybody's unique in what it is that they specifically want. It doesn't sound to me like you're looking to incentivize the people to help grow your business, right? It's not a bottom line thing. It's more about giving them more of what they want out of life.
Yeah, and they've expressed interest in possibly either, if I get into another location, being able to run that, or aspiring to have their own place one day. So, I know they're looking in that direction.
Good. So then this Dream Manager book gives you a great foundation in terms of how to grow your staff to be the best that they can be and do whatever it is that they want to do. Identify their dreams, identify their goals, and work with them on an ongoing, and remember, it's got to be consistent basis to help them achieve that. And what that does is it builds even more trust, even more loyalty, even more longevity with your staff and with you. Because if you can support one of your guys to buy a house, right, and you've helped them do that, they're with you forever, right? They're with you for life. If you can support your guys to get themselves out of debt, there's a lot of just good love that comes with that when you show them that much interest and that much support to be able to take the time to do that with them. So it goes to what Dick said. Identify what it is that they individually want and want to be, and help them grow in that manner.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's just another way of strengthening the relationship by making it even more personal with that individual. I think that's a great idea. Is there anything that you're have you actually asked any of them what they would like? I mean, you mentioned that, they said they want to be, the answer's always been, I just want to be more involved in the business. I'd like to own my own place, that kind of thing. Have they given you any other feedback, Joe, as to, have you come out and said, is there a particular incentive or a particular compensation plan that, well, I guess that's not even a good question to ask an employee. So I'll back off.
Yeah, I don't know that they could swing the bat and make contact with that anyhow.
Yeah.
A lot of them are, a lot of times I could see the answer would probably be, well, you've taken me this far and I know you're looking out for me. So whatever you think. So I think it's probably back in my lap anyhow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that question though.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, again, though, I encourage you to try and do your best to have that conversation with Fred and Randy and hear what they have. I was just talking with Fred the other day about this stuff, just briefly. He was mentioning to me what how he compensated his trainers and how it was so distinctly different from what a lot of other people did. And it really sounded interesting to me. So I thought it'd be worthwhile for you to have a conversation with him. And then Randy as well, I think.
I remember being on another call, and unfortunately, I only caught a small piece of it. But when he was talking about what he did, same thing you said, it was really different, and it really caught my attention. I thought, wow, that's pretty neat. And he said he was doing it obviously to motivate his trainers, and I could see why he also had the same type of rate of retention. But it sounded like he had some other things going on there.
Yeah, he's an interesting dude with an interesting business. There's no doubt. Joe, anything else we can do for you? Any other questions you got?
No, I think that's it.
You're good? All right. Wayne, anything else come to mind? You're all good? Okay. All right. Well, then, in that case, unless there's something else from you guys, Dick, Aaron, Camelia, no, all good. And we're just going to wrap it up. Thank you all for being on the call. Again, as always, really appreciate your time. And I think this is great. These little mastermind sessions, and that's what they're really turned into. It's not just Q&A. This is a full-blown mastermind, and it's good. So I'm appreciative of all of you being here, and just want to wish you have a great day. And we'll talk to you soon.
So long, guys.
All right, bye-bye.